do think he will get it.
It's not for sale.
I think he will. But I think he's going to find a way, because if you start with an absurd demand and then you come back and bring a more reasonable one.
If they allow him to do this, no country on this planet is safe.
That's correct.
No
I don't agree with
country
it. No one is safe.
But I want
Let's start with the news out of Davos, with President Trump, first of all, ruling out force to take Greenland, and now he says that a framework of a future deal has been reached with NATO over Greenland. Look, he certainly moves quickly. John, is it the art of the deal? What do you make of this?
Well, first of all, Gabriella, there was never any possibility of our invading Greenland, just like there was never any possibility of our annexing Canada. I don't know why Trump likes to talk that way sometimes, but that was not in the cards. On the other hand, it's always been clear that Denmark and Greenland are happy to let us have whatever we need in terms of bases and armaments in Greenland. They don't want Russian missiles passing overhead any more than we do. So this is all going to get worked out. I think at the end of the day, this is not going to be a big problem to solve.
Josh, what are your thoughts? We also heard today from NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte saying that Donald Trump is right, and so are other world leaders, that more needs to be done to protect the Arctic. And I also want to get your thoughts on Donald Trump unleashing on Europe again when it comes to energy and immigration.
Yeah, there's a lot to bash Europe with these days, Gabriella. I mean, this goes all the way back, at least as far as J.D. Vance's speech at the Munich Security Forum in Germany last February, and in the very first weeks of this administration. So this administration is definitely not afraid to yuck it up with Europe and to criticize them pretty harshly when need be. By the way, they're also perfectly happy to make nice with Europe when it's suitable for the American national interest as well. I think back to the summit at the White House in August when they were trying to kind of orchestrate this Zelensky-Putin peace deal. But in any event there, look, I'm not sure that ideal really has been reached. I take Donald Trump seriously, but not literally here in this announcement on his Truth Social post. I think that there's probably been some positive discussions there. My best guess, Donald Trump pays very close attention to the stock market. He's known for watching the stocks very, very closely. I think that he was probably spooked a little bit by the mini crash that happened after the threat of tariffs against Denmark and perhaps the UK, France, various other Western European countries there. So he's probably trying to in the very short term stop the economic bleeding. I don't think he's giving up at all, frankly, when it comes to this American desire to acquire Greenland. A campaign, by the way, that I find myself fully supportive of. There's actually a very long history of American statesmen expressing interest in actually making deals to acquire Greenland. William Seward, Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of State, explored it back in 1867, 2 years after Lincoln's assassination. Harry Truman made a formal offer of $100 million in 1946 at the very beginning of the Cold War, because he saw it as a very strategic island when it comes to deterring Russian and, by extension, Chinese incursion into the Western Hemisphere. So especially given this resurgent Trumpian interest in the Monroe Doctrine, this notion of Western Hemispheric dominance, that I think it plays really nicely into that. So I would definitely not discount the possibility that Donald Trump actually ends up getting Greenland. In fact, I think that there's a real chance, frankly, before this term is up, that you could see potentially, I'm not calling it, but as in potentially, you could see Greenland as the next Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, some sort of territorial acquisition.
John, what do you make of that?
Well, I don't disagree. It's certainly possible. I guess my point is we don't really need that. We're going to get all the security cooperation that we want from Denmark and Greenland. And if in addition to that, we want Greenland to be a territory, frankly, we can buy it. There's only about 55,000 people living in Greenland, and I think it would be within our means to acquire Greenland if that's what we really want to do. But I think the important thing is that we have the ability to do what we need to do there in terms of national and international security.